We begin with breaking news in Philadelphia, where law enforcement sources tell Fox 29 a DNA test confirms the body found Saturday morning in East Germantown belongs to 23-year-old Kada Scott. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Jennifer Lee. Kada was last seen on October 4th after arriving for an overnight shift at a senior living facility.
Go away, bitch. Come over here. Karen, call the cops. Call the... It's all these kids in here. Call the cops.
It started small. One call, then another, then more. No words. Just breathing. A voice that lingered before cutting off. She told her friends she was being followed by silence. Tried to laugh about it. Said maybe it was nothing. But laughter sounds different when it's hiding fear.
We've been out here since yesterday in the rain, in the parks in Arbery, and today we decided to come out here over in this area. To me, something is very strong over here in this area. And at this point, it's really just about getting out here and looking for her.
October 4th. She clocked out. She stepped into the night. Somewhere between the door and her destination, the world lost her. That night, her phone went dark. The streets were still. Too still. A small Philadelphia block, a few streetlights flickering, and a gold Toyota Camry waiting alone. Her phone kept ringing, but no one was there to answer. She had just finished work, ended her shift, walked into the cool night, and vanished. No struggle, no witness, no goodbye. Only silence and flashing lights. How does someone disappear between work and home in a city lined with cameras? Welcome to Grave Kisses, where love rots, secrets scream, and the dead don't stay buried. Hit subscribe, like and share, if you're not afraid to dig a little deeper. Every face you see here once had dreams, laughter, love, but somewhere their stories went silent. And here, we give those stories a voice again. Before we start, tell me your name and where you're watching from. For most people, it was just another day in Philadelphia, ordinary, unnoticed. But for Kada Scott, it was the last day anyone saw her alive. Co-workers said she was her usual self that morning. Bright, calm, focused. But some noticed something different. Like she was there, but not really. Kept checking her phone, smiling but distracted. I remember she said, "I'll be fine, just tired." By evening, her shift was over. She clocked out at 9:27 p.m. routine. Calm, no rush. The air was cool as she walked to the parking lot, phone in hand, bag on her shoulder. Surveillance shows her leaving the building, phone pressed to her ear. Her steps steady, no panic, no sign of fear. Then, nothing. Hours later, her mother woke to a quiet house. No text, no call. At first she thought maybe Kada stayed with a friend, but as the night dragged on, worry became fear. "We called and called," her mother said. But her phone just rang and rang. By morning, the silence was heavy. No calls, no messages, no posts. Her job confirmed she'd left on time. An official missing person report was filed. Detectives began retracing every step. The route home, the phone pings, the cameras. Everything led back to one point, and stopped. Somewhere between that parking lot and her front door, Kada Scott disappeared. When someone vanishes, time freezes for one family, but the rest of the world keeps moving. For Kada's loved ones, every second felt endless.
We're definitely gonna find her, and it's gonna get handled.
Everyone that has breath in their body and that has love and peace in their hearts, should be out here.
The first flyers went up fast. Hundreds of them. Gas stations, bus stops, storefronts, each one begging for answers. Her family searched the same streets she once drove. They walked alleys, empty lots, wooded corners of Philadelphia, calling her name into the silence. Neighbors joined. Church volunteers, co-workers, strangers, people who never knew her, came together to look. They shared her photo online. By week's end, her story had spread far beyond Chestnut Hill. News crews stood outside her workplace, asking the question every parent dreads. Where is she? Across the city, fear grew. Her friends said she was dependable, the kind who never went off the grid. So when she went silent, everyone knew something was terribly wrong. Before we go deeper, I want to speak directly to the parents watching. What happened to Kada Scott wasn't random. It was a pattern, the same one we keep seeing, again and again. Every week in America, another young woman vanishes. Sometimes it's a stranger, sometimes it's someone they trusted, a classmate, a coach, a neighbor, and by the time the warning signs are clear, it's already too late.
I'm just hurt right now. I'm filled with rage, anger right now. I'm just trying to stay strong for my cousin.
And still, no call, no trace. Each evening her mother lit a candle by the window and whispered into the dark, "I promise. Every night I leave the porch light on, just in case." The city started to feel smaller, not because it was safe, but because everyone was searching for the same woman. Detectives went door to door, checked traffic cams, traced cell towers. Then came a lead: East Falls. 5 miles from where she worked, officers found a car, a gold 1999 Toyota Camry, the same one she was last seen walking toward. No struggle, no blood, no her, just a silence that grew heavier with every day that passed. When a young woman disappears in a city like Philadelphia, the first 48 hours decide everything. Detectives started again from the top, retracing her last steps. Phone records, surveillance footage, digital trails. Then one pattern caught their eye. Repeated calls from a single number, the same number that had been stalking her for weeks before she vanished. That number led to a name: Keon King, 21 years old, the last person known to contact Kada before she went missing. Police dug through his social media, his messages, his search history. Every clue pulled them closer to East Falls, the same area where her car sat abandoned. The more they searched, the darker the picture became. Months earlier, King had faced charges for kidnapping and strangulation, but the case vanished after the victim never showed up to court. It wasn't the first time someone had said he scared them. As fear spread across the city, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office released a statement, admitting mistakes, promising a full review. Detectives kept moving. They gathered phone data, interviewed witnesses, pieced together the hours after her final sighting. Bit by bit, the evidence stacked up: text messages, GPS pings, security footage. Enough to act. Keon King was arrested, charged with kidnapping, stalking and related offenses in connection with the disappearance of Kada Scott. Now the case had a name, a suspect, and a timeline, but one thing was still missing: her. The homicide unit stepped in. The FBI joined the search. Dozens of officers, multiple agencies, all asking the same question: where is Kada? Even with a suspect behind bars, there was no sign of her. And soon the focus shifted, not just toward the man they'd caught, but toward the system that had seen his name before. Word spread fast. King wasn't new to police. He'd already been arrested months before, accused of the same crimes. That case disappeared in paperwork when the victim never came forward. We could have done better. 5 words, and the city's anger exploded, because if better had been done, maybe Kada Scott would still be alive. Across Philadelphia, people started asking, how many warnings have to be ignored before a woman disappears? As protests grew outside the courthouse, detectives kept digging. The search zone widened. Rivers, fields, wooded trails on the edge of East Falls. Then a flicker of hope. Near a creek not far from the abandoned Camry, officers found a phone case and a piece of mail with her name on it. It wasn't proof, but it was something, a whisper of where she might have been. Please just tell us what you know. We're not angry. We just want her back. The family begged for truth, for clarity, for something they could hold on to, but investigators stayed quiet. Sources said DNA testing was underway on the items they'd found. At the same time, FBI agents worked side by side with local police, combing through records, GPS data, deleted messages. Then a chilling detail surfaced. Dispatch logs revealed that on the night she vanished, a 911 call came from a payphone less than 2 miles from the Camry. The call lasted only seconds. Hello, please hurry. And then silence. Public outrage grew heavier. News stations replayed the DA's statement on loop. Activists filled the streets. Her mother's voice became the headline every night. In the chaos of protests and flashing cameras, something deeper began to take shape. A reckoning about failure. Failure to protect. Failure to listen. Failure to act before it was too late. Kada Scott's name stopped being just another missing persons file. It became a reflection, showing how warnings can be ignored until they turn into breaking news. The longer the search dragged on, the clearer it became. This wasn't only about one missing woman, it was about every warning that went unheard. Weeks passed, evidence tested, leads went cold. The city waited. The questions didn't stop. Detectives built theories the way they always do. One call, one camera angle, one clue at a time. Was Kada taken by someone she trusted, or by a stranger who had been tracking her for days? Did the same man behind bars make those harassing calls? Or was someone else still out there listening? And that car, the gold Camry, found miles off her usual route. Who drove it there? What happened in those missing minutes? No camera ever caught. At police headquarters, press conferences became routine. Officers stood behind podiums. Reporters demanded answers. None came. This investigation remains active. We are following every credible lead. But the city had heard those lines before. Promises had lost their weight. Patience was running thin. From candlelight vigils to courthouse steps, her name became a rallying cry, not just for justice, but for accountability. In stalking cases, there are always warning signs. They start small: a text, a phone call, a sudden appearance outside your job. When ignored, they grow fast. Experts called it a systemic blind spot, the space between suspicion and action, between a dropped case and another victim. Because when prior cases fall apart, predators learn something. They can get away with it. Ignored red flags can become tragedies. That phrase echoed everywhere. In newsrooms, in living rooms, in city halls. Her family still held on to hope, the kind that hurts and heals at the same time. They met with detectives, begged for transparency, asked again and again, why wasn't she protected? She told people she was scared. That should have been enough. Soon, other women stepped forward. They shared their own stories. Late-night calls, cars that followed too long, police reports that went nowhere. What started as one disappearance became something larger, a mirror reflecting every time danger slipped through the cracks. Without answers, the city filled in its own. Some believed she was taken the moment she left work. Others thought she got into a car with someone she knew. And some couldn't stop wondering if that 911 call, the one cut off mid-sentence, was her last attempt to be heard. Through it all, one question hung in the air like a shadow. Was justice ever really served? Or did the system protect the wrong person? Officials promised reforms, new review boards, faster response to harassment claims. But for her family, those words felt hollow. Apologies written too late. Because no policy can replace a daughter who never came home. No statement can silence the ring of a phone that no one answers. Her story became more than a headline. It became a warning that silence protects no one, and hesitation can cost everything. Maybe one day, her case will have an ending. But until then, it remains a question every community must face for itself. How many times do we ignore the signs before another person goes missing? Ignored red flags can become tragedies. It's been weeks now, and silence has its own sound. Sometimes it's the faint ring of a phone that no one picks up. Sometimes it's the hum of a refrigerator in a kitchen that hasn't heard laughter in days. Every parent fears that call, or worse, no call at all, because no words cut deeper than silence. In a city full of noise, her absence became the loudest sound. Every unanswered question turned into a whisper that drifted through every neighborhood. Every city remembers a story like this differently. The theories, the outrage, the hope that fades too soon. But no one forgets the silence that follows. For her family, time stands still. For the rest of us, life moves on, but her echo remains, a quiet reminder that safety should never be a privilege, and every warning deserves to be heard. Somewhere tonight, a light still burns for Kada Scott. She left work one evening and never came home. But her story reminds us why every voice matters, and why every warning deserves to be heard. Because silence is never really empty. It's filled with the words we never said, the steps we never took, and the moments we thought we'd always have time for. When stories like Kada's unfold, we ask the same questions every time. How does this happen? How can someone be watched, followed, contacted again and again, and still slip through every safety net? The truth is, it never starts with violence. It starts with trust. A friendly message, a familiar voice, a small gesture that feels harmless until it isn't. It's attention that turns into control, kindness that twists into fear. And tonight, the community came together to remember Kada Scott. Candles, flowers, teddy bears and balloons filled the vigil. Strangers and neighbors alike stood in silence, saying her name, Kada Scott. Her life, her laughter, and her dreams were remembered. Over the weekend, her body was found near Lewes Middle School, 2 weeks after she disappeared. Today, Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner announced new charges against Keon King, tying him to both her kidnapping and the vehicles used to move her. Evidence, including video footage and cell phone data, places him at every critical scene. Her family shared a statement, reading through their pain and gratitude. Please continue to keep us in our prayers as we navigate this unimaginable loss. Our hearts are broken beyond measure. We are profoundly thankful to every person who shared Kada's story, joined the search efforts, and stood by our family during this devastating time. Supporters hope justice is served soon. Murder charges are expected, and investigations continue into anyone else involved. For Kada Scott, the city remembers. For her family, the loss is endless.
Yeah, well, Jackie, this vigil has garnered a large response from the community here. Take a look right here. A lot of them not knowing Kada Scott personally, but her case touched them so deeply. Many of them leaving candles, flowers, teddy bears, balloons in remembrance of Kada's life. And this is what this vigil is about today, remembering who she was and the impact she'll leave behind.
Say her name!
Kada Scott!
Say her name!
Kada Scott!
Kada Scott's disappearance bringing the community together in the name of justice.
You know, it's just so much pain. And, you know, she didn't deserve that. And it's just feel like I lost a loved one in my family.
This after news that her body was found behind Ada Lewis Middle School over the weekend. She was last seen alive 2 weeks ago in Chestnut Hill. Today, Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner announcing Keon King, the man charged with her kidnapping, will face additional charges. The DA explaining both King and Scott communicated with each other before her disappearance.
Obviously, they knew each other to some extent. We believe in terms of maybe there was some cell phone communication.
A tip led them to a 2008 Hyundai Ascent, believed to be the vehicle used to move Scott's body. And they say the Hyundai was stolen October 3rd in East Mount Airy, a day before Kada was reported missing. It was then set on fire 4 days later, found on 74th Avenue, where broken glass and charred remains are still there. Investigators say video evidence showed the 2008 Hyundai, as well as a 1999 Toyota Camry, found in an apartment complex last week in East Falls at the scene where Kada's body was found. King's cell phone data connecting him to those locations.
Keon King's mobile device puts him at all of the locations that we're talking about. It's on scene when the Hyundai Accent is there at the recreation center. It is on scene when the vehicle is burned.
Scott's family sharing a letter to the public read by the DA's office of their pain and their gratitude for everyone involved in finding Kada.
Please continue to keep us in prayer as we navigate this unimaginable loss. Our hearts are broken beyond measure. We are profoundly thankful to every person who shared Kada's story, joined the search efforts, prayed with us, and stood by our family during this devastating time.
Now these supporters are hoping justice is served soon for Kada. DA Krasner saying he's confident murder charges will be coming soon. Another person could also face charges. Here at Ada Lewis Middle School, Yukari Nakayama, NBC 10 News.
And we have the full statement from Kada Scott's family on the NBC 10 app and NBC10.com. There's also information about how to make donations to the family or send tips about the investigation.